What's going on, dude?
Hey, not much, man. How are you?
I'm living life.
Living life.
Quarantine still.
Quarantine style.
Yeah, I just found out that I do not go into the office next week, but the following week I do. I guess they have set up some sort of rotational basis, two different teams per se, in the area that I work at. And one team goes in next week, and the next team goes in the following week until basically they feel it's safe for everybody to come back all at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
I don't go back to work until the 21st. Um,
oh,
I talked to my boss at the tail end of last week when all of what you just talked about was being decided.
mm-hmm.
And she said May 4th, when the governor's restriction lifts, like we're all supposed to be, quote, transitioning back. And I said, well, what does that mean? And she said, I don't exactly know yet. I said, okay, well, when you find out, if it's all the same to everybody else, school gets out May 21st. That's the last day that my wife has to work, and then she's on summer break, and then I can come back, without problems, because my wife then is just, at home with kids and not having to
Right.
also try to work. And I said, so if it's all the same to everybody else, I'd like to not come back until then. And I
Yeah.
said, but obviously, I'll do whatever you want. And so most of
Right.
the day went by, and then at some point she texted me and she said, hey, you're good to stay home till May 21st. I said, okay, sounds good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, other than the quarantine, what did you do this weekend?
Um, what did I do this weekend? Did some working out a little bit. I did a lot
Nice.
of grocery shopping. This week happened to be the week that I needed to shop for us and for my mom. And so I went 2 days in a row, and that was frustrating.
I could understand that.
um, but played outside with the kids a bunch again, and repurposed some wheels from a bike kid hauler
Yeah, you
to
did.
to put on the kicker ramp.
Yeah, that looked awesome. It looked like it worked really well.
It for as little thought as I put into it, it worked extremely well. So here's how perfect everything was, though. The axle on those wheels happened to be exactly the same size as my largest drill bit. And so like
Nice.
they take just a little bit of a tap with a hammer to actually go into the wood.
Well, that's
And
good.
yeah, I think though as because that's a fresh hole, I think as the hole
Mm.
like dries up, it'll be easier
Mm.
in and out. Um
Right.
but as it is, I have cotter pins for those wheels, but the wood is just a little too thick for the hole on the axle to come all the way through, and so I can't put the pins in. But
Ah.
anyway, as it is,
Yeah.
the thing rolls great. I did have to trim some of the planks at the very top,
Mm-hmm.
but like we're talking a quarter inch off each side. If you can't hit if you can't hit 1 foot and 10 inches of plank, then you shouldn't have been trying at 2 feet.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Don't do this if you can't ride up the plank. That's a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. When you sent me that video, I was like, oh, sweet, man. That makes it nice and easy. Now
Yeah.
you have no reason to not put it in your backyard and try to session that sucker and get super good at it.
Yeah. So I still have no pain in any of them, and all my scabs have come off, but I have very dark, deep purple spots on my shin and calf from my pedals. And it just I don't like pain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most people don't. There's a few weirdos out there. But like it's just I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I'm telling you what I think, this is just my thought on it. And I know we're going long on the ramp discussion, but I think you should shorten it. I think you should figure out a way to shorten it. That way you can, feel more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then once you get more comfortable with like a little bit shorter ramp, then you can build up to the bigger one. But how to make it module is the tricky part.
Yeah. So there is one thing that I kind of was toying with yesterday, and I ended up not trying it. But my garage goes all the way through. And so out the back of my garage, there's a little bit of patio, and then it sort of drops downhill, maybe about a foot over 3 feet.
Yeah.
And so I had it sitting there when I was working on it, and I was like, the slope and angle and all that doesn't look quite as bad when it's sitting on this hill, and I think I could get enough speed coming out of my garage across the patio to hit this and not die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a really short runway with how cluttered my garage currently is. I could open everything up to where I could just ride straight through the garage and hit it out the back, but yeah, so I don't know. I do think I need to saw a bit off of the legs and let it drop down just a tad.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get the bravery back up and you'll do it, and then eventually you'll just get really good at it and it'll be second nature. That's how all that stuff works.
I know.
All
that's
of it
the
works.
thing, though, is getting it to where it's second nature.
Once you've kind of crashed or messed up on something mountain biking wise, it is very hard to overcome that. Even if you've done it several times, it's challenging.
I was just going to add one more thing. You know what it's like living in a suburban neighborhood and having, neighbors around. Like, I only like to do things in my backyard that I'm really good at.
Uh-huh.
Just on the off chance
the whole neighborhood's watching.
Yeah, just on the off chance that, someone's doing dishes and looking out the window and they see me just eat shit on a bike ramp that I built.
Yeah, I totally get it. I have the protection of woods and backyard that nobody can see in to do all my stupid stuff in. So I totally get it. Yeah, so this weekend I built a thing. My trail system that I have dubbed Walnut Springs. I built a pretty cool feature that the video will be coming out this upcoming Friday, which I don't know the date off the top of my head, but that's when I plan on releasing it, which is, the 1st, May the 1st. So, I don't really want to talk a lot about it just because I don't want to spoil it, even though I know that Thursday is whenever this is coming out, but it's pretty sweet. I'm pretty stoked about it. It's a multi-use thing. It's not just for mountain bikers. And my kids think it's really cool. So that's like extra bonus points when dad does something that the kids think is cool. Planted a lot of plants. Me and my wife, we bought a ton of stuff for our front landscaping because we hadn't done anything since last year when we built the house. And we got a lot of plants. Yeah.
You said last week that you drove around and looked, and so now you've bought some stuff.
Yeah. We got somebody to come out and kind of give us some ideas from a local flower shop or garden shop, and we went and bought a whole bunch of stuff. So we still have a lot of planting to do, but we got a lot of the big things in, which is really cool. And one other thing that I wanted to mention is I bought something. I bought an iPad Pro 12.9 inch. So I am super stoked about that. I want to talk about how I bought it on Crazy Tech. So other than that, that's all I had from this weekend. Looks like I want to talk about some iCloud keychain things that might come out, but might not. They're kind of rumors floating around the internet. And then my status with the game Hidden Through Time. What do you want to talk about this week?
I just have a very short, like almost like headline that I want to mention, and then we can expound upon it, the two of us, if we have anything to say.
Okay, cool. Well, I say we get into it.
All right, let's do it. Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Mike. So, you had something that you wanted to mention pretty quick, you said?
Yeah. So, I read a Wall Street Journal headline because I don't have a Wall Street Journal subscription. And so their stuff's all behind a paywall. But they said that all iPhones are going to be pushed about a month, is what Apple's saying. And so anything that Apple releases product-wise usually comes out around September, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep.
So we're looking more at probably like October or maybe November. 1 month doesn't seem like that big of a lag to me.
Yeah, that's not actually bad at all. I mean, we were hearing like a month or two ago, whenever all this kind of coronavirus scare started, that there might not be phones this year. And then now they're talking about, they're just going to be a month behind. That's pretty amazing to be able to, if they do come out a month late, to even be able to come out just a month late with all this stuff that's happened.
Yeah, so I think, like China had their big spike with the virus, and then they have effectively flattened their curve, which is that buzzword that everyone's talking about. And so, yeah, it seems like maybe their manufacturing is opening back up and their supply chains are still running. And so, yeah, maybe not as big a delay as originally thought it could be.
Well, that's pretty good news, because I am considering, I make those monthly payments on my phone, like whatever they're called, the Next Plan or whatever it is that you have through your provider, where you can pay like $30 a month with no interest, and it's just on your cell phone bill. Well, I have that on my current phone, and my current phone's 2 years old, and I think I would have it paid off sometime next year. But I'm considering, if the camera is much improved, going with an iPhone 12 and just continuing my payments, because I could essentially trade my phone in at that point and keep the same payments or maybe even lower and get the newer phone and have a new camera, because it's my primary camera for my YouTube channel. I mean, that's what I record all my stuff on. So having something that's a really good camera is pretty important to me.
That's what I was just going to say, is there's sort of a secondary justification for you. Like one, I love Apple and Apple's great and I want the latest, hottest, coolest thing. But two, this channel that is really starting to take off, like, yeah, that's your primary source of footage. I mean, you have your Garmin for when you do trail stuff, but or Garmin, your GoPro. But for on a tripod still shots, and when you're recording your woodworking stuff and metalworking stuff and all that, that's all your phone. So kind of a big deal to have a good camera.
Right. There. Yeah. I was just thinking about it, and I was like, gosh, I should really consider getting that. Haven't talked to Jessica about it at all yet, but I mean, if our payment doesn't go up, the reality is that every time we get a phone, we usually go until it's paid off, and then as soon as the next one comes out, we get another one. So we're usually only like 1 or 2 months of no payment on a phone. So
yeah,
it's not like I'm like paying this thing off and keeping it 3 years. So,
yeah, it's not like a car where you're like, sick, it's paid off. Now in 4 more years, I'll get a new one.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's nothing like that at all. So I'm considering that. That'll be awesome if it's only delayed by a month, though. So that's good news.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about iCloud Keychain. So are you familiar with iCloud Keychain?
I think what you're talking about is witchcraft, because the cloud is imaginary and just air and space and servers, and keychains are tangible, hard items, and those two things are not compatible.
Yep. Well, you are wrong, sir. So, what's funny about this is that I've talked to a couple of people in my family about this, and they had no idea what iCloud Keychain was. But yet, pretty much if you have an iPhone, you use it almost all the time. So whenever you go into an app or you go to a website and it asks you on your iPhone, do you want to save this username and password? And then you go back to that website and a little thing pops up, a nice little modal pops up at the bottom of your screen and says, hey, do you want to use this password for this user? And then you say, yeah, I'll use it. That's iCloud Keychain. Essentially, it's a password manager that's built into your iPhone or your Mac device or your iPad, any type of Apple device that can basically browse the web. So if you go into settings and you go down into your passwords and security, there's an option in there to actually look at your saved passwords. And for instance, on mine, I have like 300 and some passwords and websites saved inside of this. Well, it's not super convenient to get to it. It's kind of a challenge to get to it, but if you know it's there, it's real handy because you can go simply just look up the password for, say, like your PayPal account or your Gmail account or whatever account you have that you've said, I want to save my password for, and you've asked iOS to save it whenever you've gone to that website. So, but you have to drill through that settings app inside of your iPhone or inside of your MacBook, and that's kind of a pain because it's multiple clicks. It's deep, buried deep inside of it, and it's just not convenient. There's another way around this. So, and a lot of people that I've talked to about this have had no clue that you can do this. I think it's as of iOS 12. You can ask the lady on your phone, Siri, you can ask her for a password, and she will show you the password for that site if you have gone to that site. So you could say, hey lady, show me my PayPal password. And if you have a Face ID phone, it'll open up and it'll try to verify your Face ID. And then if it does, then it'll show you the password and username for the website that you asked for. So in that example, PayPal. It doesn't actually say it, which is nice because you don't want your password blurted out loud by the lady inside your phone.
Right.
That would be bad. But it's super convenient to be able to do that. But not all the times do you want to just say, hey, lady, show me my password out in the middle of public. Sure. I mean, if you're at home, it's okay. Or if you're by yourself or with company that you trust, but you don't want somebody to know that, hey, this dude just popped open his phone and now his password is showing on the screen. Let me just walk by and snap a photo of it.
Right.
But it's a super fast, convenient way of accessing iCloud Keychain instead of going through settings. But if you're familiar with like apps like 1Password or Dashlane, they're password managers that are third party. And they're super convenient. I've used 1Password for years before iCloud Keychain was actually even a thing. And they're super convenient because the way that those work is essentially your device has the key, the encryption key, to get access to the passwords. And the passwords are stored in some form of a hash on that company's server. And so you don't have to worry about somebody hacking into their server and getting your password. If they hack into their server, they're just going to get a whole bunch of hash stuff if they don't have the key, which you have the key on your phone. But there again, it's a third party. There's always that risk. Where whenever it's embedded into your iPhone, it's actually encrypted and tangled in with your Apple ID and the secure enclave that's built into your phone and all of your devices. So you got a lot deeper layer of security with iCloud Keychain than you do with any other password manager that's out there. But they don't have a user interface that's friendly. You either have to go into settings or you have to go into Siri or ask Siri for it. So there's a rumor out there that they're working on a user interface, so it would be a built-in app on your phone that you can have anywhere on your phone, and you can just tap on that app and it'll be basically a convenient way for you to look at your passwords, update your passwords, add new passwords, probably store other information about yourself, maybe social security numbers, bank account information. Just a real quick, easy way of actually doing that. And having that built into the OS would be awesome because it would be on device and you wouldn't have to worry about that being on some third-party server that you're not really sure what their intent is or how secure their stuff is. We can all pretty much assume Apple's stuff is pretty secure because I imagine that they're a company that is constantly trying to be hacked, and we haven't heard any huge breaking stories of people breaking into their servers and getting personal information. It has happened in the past with like iCloud photos, but with iCloud Keychain, there haven't been any stories of those actually breaking in. So getting a UI would be awesome, and this might be coming in iOS 14.
Well, that's something, because I shouldn't admit this on a tech podcast, but I have been holding off on using any of the third-party password managers because I just don't know if you can trust them fully or not. And like I mentioned to you, that's why someone got some free pizza not so long ago, because I tend to reuse passwords and whatnot on some of the less important things.
I think we all do. Right.
But I went in here while you were talking. I went to settings and to passwords and accounts, and I went to website and app passwords, and I have no saved passwords. Mm-hmm. So when I said I have no idea what you're talking about, I have zero. Yeah. Anytime Google Chrome or anyone else asks me, would you like to save this password? I say, heck no. I don't know you. That's my purse.
Wow. Well, you should feel a little bit more secure if you're on Safari and you see that thing pop up at the very bottom of your screen that looks like an Apple UI and asks you if you want to save this to iCloud Keychain. You could say yes to that and you'd be fine.
So how do I
have to have any worries about?
So all of the sites that I've said no, how do I get her to start asking me again?
You know, that's a good question. I'm not really sure because I say yes. I say yes all the time. That'd be a real interesting experiment for you to try out. I am kind of curious as to what exactly happens after you've said no. What happens to does it ever ask you again, or does it just stop asking you? Like how does all that work? So yeah, you'll have to see what happens whenever you go to a website and see if it asks you if you want to save your password. Now this only happens whenever you're on a Safari device, like a Safari web browser, or maybe I think it can do it for apps too. I'm not really sure, but that's real interesting that you have zero. I haven't seen anybody that has had zero. You are a first. You're like a novelty.
I'm a snowflake.
Yeah, you're unique.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, you'll have to let me know how that works for you. I mean, I definitely recommend using it just because it's super convenient and it's secured on your phone. I mean, somebody would have to get into your phone to be able to get to those passwords. And once you have them in your password, say they get into your phone. Let's say your phone is unlocked sitting somewhere. Somebody picks up your phone and goes to that. it asks you for your password or your Face ID again. So it's not like once your phone's unlocked, they can just get in there. It is a little bit more secure, quite a bit more secure than a lot of the other things. But I wouldn't hesitate about it too much, just because these, even with the third party one like Dashlane or 1Password, because it is a personal encryption key that is tied specifically to your account on your device. So it's the odds of somebody being able to actually unencrypt those passwords are very, very slim. I mean, it would take a huge amount of time for them to do it, and these third-party password companies, that's their whole job. So their whole job is to try to make their stuff as secure as possible, because if they do lose that trust, if they have somebody hack into it and steal passwords, their job's over. I mean, no one's going to trust it again. If 1Password got hacked, no one would trust them again. People would be switching over to somebody else. I mean, it's almost like, it's a key manufacturer getting broken into and all the keys get stolen. It's like, that can't happen. I mean, it's just not something. If it does, they might as well close the doors.
Right.
So.
Right.
But that's what I'm hoping that. I'm hoping that the UI comes to iOS 14. So we'll see.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's all I had on that. So you reminded me this weekend. You asked me, "Hey Mike, what happened to that game, Hidden Through Time? Do you still play it?" Well, we forgot to update everybody last week on whether or not I actually still play this game or not. And I do. I actually do play it. I don't play it that often, just because I feel like any free time that I have, I'm doing something for my YouTube channel. But if I have just 5 minutes of like just boredom, standing in a line, or waiting in the car for Jessica to come out of the grocery store, or wherever whatever I'm doing, I have been playing it. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been playing it, and I think I'm probably on like the 5th or 6th level, and it's a lot of fun. I did find that you can cheat with it, which I don't like. I really wish that apps wouldn't put this in there, to where you can touch the object on the find this object box, and it'll give you a hint to where it's at. And I'm like, So once I accidentally did it once, and when I did that, I felt really bad. I was like, no, not ever touching those again. So, but I really enjoy it. It's a great game. I think I paid $1.99 for it, and it's just right. The music. The music on it is really like soothing. So it's kind of a relaxing game. So if you're kind of stressed, you could just kind of turn it on and kind of search around the scene for some objects. But I haven't beat it yet, just because I don't dedicate that much time to games. But it's a fun one to have, because I don't have to have a lot of brain power to actually play it. I can just turn it on and start looking for things.
Nice.
So, that's all I had. Did you have anything else before we do some crazy tech?
That's all I got. This is the time for Crazy Tech. We are a giver of news to the world. And while we feel so sad while locked inside, we absolutely get it. Quarantine.
Nice. Let's see. Gosh. That sounds so familiar. I can't do it. Who is it? I know I'm going to...
This is the story of a girl.
Still, I know. Who is it?
It's called Absolutely, by, as far as I know, a one-hit wonder, 9 Days.
Oh, gosh. I would have never have gotten that band.
Yeah, I had to Google it while you were talking.
I had no idea that was from a one-hit wonder. Because, that song was pretty popular.
I mean, I don't know anything else by him. Yeah.
Oh, man. How weird. So, did you have a crazy tech, or do you want me to go first, or?
I do have a crazy tech, and I'm going to do it in the style of an infomercial.
Oh, fun.
Mike,
Yeah,
Do you get super tired of doing laundry and then folding clothes?
sure.
It's so annoying having to fold them, right? Well, you can get Foldymate, and it'll perfectly fold your shirts and pants into a neat stack, and it takes around 10 to 15 seconds per item. Wow! How much would you pay for something like that?
$3.
How about 1,000?
What?
Yeah. It's 4 feet tall. It looks like a washing machine. These people have it in their living room. Yeah, right. And it's $1,000.
So it's an actual like robot?
Yeah, it's just a rectangular, cube washing machine looking like it's about the size of a washing machine if the washing machine were on a pedestal.
That's so weird. So do you just dump your clothes in there, or is it just one at a time?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's $1,000 folding machine. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I would have to see how crisp the folds are, but I don't know. I think I can fold my own clothes. How about you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so it's shirts and pants, but no sheets, socks, or underwear. So what's even the point?
Right. I definitely want my sheets to be folding. If the machine can fold one of those sheets that go around your bed with the elastic waist on it and fold it perfectly, it's probably worth $1,000. So I don't know anybody that can fold those.
This dude can.
Oh, really?
I'm a fitted sheet folding master.
No kidding.
Yep.
You might have to give me lessons sometime, because I just wind up just wadding them up and saying, "Oh, that looks good."
Well, when the quarantine's over, that's the right after I hit all your new features. That's the first thing I'll do is I'll teach you how to fold a fitted sheet.
Nice. Looking forward to it. My crazy tech, Chad, is the website that I bought my iPad off of. Have you ever heard of Swappa?
I have, but not the Swappa that you're talking about. So we work for utility, and Swappa is what we call SWPA, which is the Southwest Power Authority.
No, yeah, not the same thing. This is swappa.com. And it's essentially like a marketplace for electronics. So they sell phones, they sell laptops, smartwatches, tablets, and then some like smart home type stuff. And it's essentially all used. Think of it as like a marketplace / eBay type of deal where you can go on there, you can buy things and you can sell things. But what's kind of crazy about it is everybody can list all their stuff, whatever price they want. So you can go on there and you can find people who are trying to basically make a lot of money off of an item, or somebody who is basically trying to sell something at a reasonable resale price. So whenever I bought my tablet, my iPad, which I haven't got yet, so this is all preliminary based off of what it'll be like whenever I receive it. I went on there, searched for the specific iPad that I wanted, and then I found all the listings that had all of them on there, which was super easy to do. Like the way that they narrow down everything is very specific to the device. So there's not all this like mystical searching, like I want an iPad 12.9 inch, 256 gig, cellular compatible, and then you hit enter and you hope you get it, and then you get a whole bunch of other stuff. With this, you get very specific to what you want, down to the carrier if you wanted it to be down to like if it was AT&T compatible or T-Mobile compatible.
That's what drives me crazy about Amazon is you type in exactly what you want and they're just like, here's results. But it's not what you wanted, but here's some results.
Yeah. It's really nice to be able to have that quick narrow down feature. because I was able to look at it and basically see, okay, there's 7 of these tablets that I'm interested on there. And they were ranging from $800 and some dollars to $1,200. So people had them in all different conditions and all different colors, because they come in the silver and the gray. But the nice thing is that this website runs through PayPal. So they use PayPal as the payment system. So they offer PayPal protection. So if you purchase something and it is broken, it's not what they basically claimed it would be, you can claim it through the PayPal protection program.
That's really nice. That's insurance without buying insurance.
Exactly. Yeah. And they don't allow any devices that have cracked screens. So you're not having to filter through some of the stuff. Like on eBay, they can sell stuff that has cracked screens. Now, they're supposed to note that they have cracked screens, but on this, they don't. They have set levels of like quality from mint, which is basically not open, to been open but never actually used, to excellent, to good, fair, and they had one other one down below it. But essentially all those things, all those ratings are rated on what the body of the device looks like and the quality of it and how clean it is. But they don't allow cracked screens. So you don't have to worry about buying a cracked screen whenever you're on here, from what I could see, and basically the rules. So whenever the seller goes to list it, which is what I thought was really cool, like this particular seller had sold hundreds of items. So you could see that they had sold a lot. You could see what their rating was based off of other users that have purchased from them. And you could see what they've sold in the past. And but whenever he or she listed the device, there's an admin that approves every single listing. So it's not just willy-nilly, this guy just lists this or this girl just lists this. It gets listed, an admin looks at it and says, okay, we've approved it. We're going to go ahead and allow it on Swappa. So you're not just getting something that's just thrown out there and they're claiming that it's something certain. There's actually a human person looking at it to determine whether or not it's actually a quality listing, which I thought was pretty cool.
Looking at the device itself because they've shipped it in, or looking through the pictures that they've posted?
Pictures that they posted in the description.
Cool.
So yeah, the device actually sits with the seller. It doesn't actually, Swappa is just basically a website that's got people that actually look at the descriptions and the images and make sure that they're listing right. And then of course, it's all backed by user ratings. So if somebody sells something that's crummy and they keep doing it, Swappa is going to ban them, or they're going to get really bad ratings, which is going to hurt them in the long run. So we'll see how my iPad comes in. Mine was rated at good condition because there was a little tiny scratch at the very bottom on the casing by the one of the speakers. But other than that, everything looked really good in the photos. But yeah, I mean, the price that I paid for it, he had it listed for $840. I messaged him and said, would you sell it for $800? And they said yes, and lowered the price and said, hey, I lowered it, go ahead and buy it. And I went on there and bought it. So I bought essentially an iPad that retails for about $1,200 for $800. So I am hoping that this comes in and works really well, and it's in the condition that he says it is in. Because I mean, I don't have any reason to doubt that he or she is lying because of all the ratings that I've seen on that particular seller's Swappa feed. So we'll see. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that person just wants to get the newest iPad, and they want an $800 discount on it. So you help them out.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. So that's all I've got. That's my crazy tech. Do you got anything else, Chad?
Well, I don't know. It's a little late to go back to weekend talk, but I remembered one other thing I did this weekend.
Yeah.
I gave myself a quarantine haircut.
Oh, yeah, you did. You sent me a photo. It looked pretty good. Looked like you did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a scissor cut on top, which is the first time I've ever done that myself. I used to buzz my hair, like every 2 or 3 weeks, and then the kids were born, and I started going back to a barber. And anyway, I was about 24 days overdue. And did you ever watch The Big Bang Theory very religiously?
No, I've watched a few episodes, but not very many.
Okay, well, you'll miss this a little bit, but maybe some of our listeners will get it. There's an episode where Sheldon's barber ends up in the hospital, and Sheldon's pretty particular about everything, so if it's not his barber, then obviously no one else can cut his hair. But he goes to the appointment, his barber's not there, he comes back home, and he starts trying to shake his head all Bieber style to get his hair out of his face, even though it's not any different than it ever is.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts saying things like, well, I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep the girls away with my brains and this haircut, this kind of devil may care renegade haircut. But anyway, I started acting like that with Laura.
Oh,
and
jeez.
I was like, I just, this is just getting out of hand. I look like a total hippie and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I cut it up. It looks pretty good.
Nice.
But anything would have been better than what it was, because 24 days past due is a long time.
Yeah, that's definitely a long time. I've seen some people posting pictures on Facebook of their gray hair. They're like, oh God, what am I going to do? My gray hair is coming in. I don't know. So I imagine the beauty salons will be full for months after the quarantine is lifted.
Yeah, I think barbers and beauticians and stylists and whatever other words you want to use to define the person who cuts hair, they're pretty much going to be able to just set their hours and fill all the time slots. So if they want to work from 6 to 6, I'm sure they could find people to come in.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. Well, did you want to tell the listeners where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us all over the internet. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Lunchtime Tech Talk. We're on Twitter at LunchTimeTechT1. We've got a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. You can pop on there and leave us $1 a month or $5 if you're super stoked. You can hop over to our website. That's where we keep the show notes, and you can browse through there and listen to past episodes. That's www.lunchtimetechtalk.com. You can find me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at MSUMac. That's MSUMACC. Mike, where you at?
I am on Twitter at run_bike_Mike. And you can find me everywhere else at runbikemike. If you want to make it real easy to get to all my social media and everything, just go to runbikemike.com. And that is it for the week.
.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did it.
We did it. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.